Hi, if you've used computers from the 1970s and 80s, you're probably familiar with the classic Star Trek game. What very few people know is that there was another, very different Star Trek game at the same time. It was script-based, and it gave you a feeling of actually being in an episode of Star Trek. I've been looking for this game for 40 years, and it appeared as if it had ceased to exist. Until now, a copy, possibly the only one in the world, has been found. So let's take a look at the other Star Trek game.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Here's the well-known game. It was written in BASIC in 1971 by Mike Mayfield. It was released to the public domain, ported to probably every computer that ran BASIC, and was published in David All's iconic collection of computer games. Here's the script-based game. I played it back in the 1970s at the Boston Museum of Science. They had an ASR-33 terminal that called into a PDP-10. I haven't seen it anywhere since. Occasionally I would try to find its source code, but with no luck. Its origins are murky. Wikipedia only mentions it in one paragraph, in an article about game designer Don Daglow. But Don didn't write it. He thinks it came from a student at Caltech. Don just modified it. And then Don's version got distributed by DECUS, the Digital Equipment Computer Users Society. In my efforts to find this game, I saw it listed in an index of DECUS tapes, but I never found an image of that tape. Since I played the game on a PDP-10, the DECUS distribution is probably the one I used. Then in 2022, I happened to be hanging out in a Facebook group dedicated to basic programming. A guy named Gary Boyer posted that he had found a stack of listings from Lehigh University in 1970s. It included listings of 5 Star Trek games. I told him about the script-based game and asked him to look for it. He found it. He might have the only copy in the world. He scanned it in and posted all 13 pages of the listing to Facebook. In the 1970s, Lehigh had a Control Data 6000 computer, so this version of the game is probably unrelated to the DECUS version and to Don Daglow's mods. The header comment mentions Tufts University, a person at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, and another person in an unspecified location. There's no mention of Don or anyone at Caltech. So who wrote this game? I don't know. And by the way, Wikipedia says the game was written in 1972, the year after Mike Mayfield's game. But there's no citation for that. And Don remembers making his modifications to the game in November 1971. Given that we don't know who wrote it, we can't say with confidence when it was written. Is this the second Star Trek computer game ever written? Or is it the first? Let's play it. I'm running this on a DEC PDP-11 emulator with Ristus Basic Plus. So we run SC Trek. I've renamed this to Script Trek. Space, the final frontier. This is a voyage of the starship Yorktown. The game chooses a different starship name for you each time. Yeoman, would you please enter your name for the log, sir? Bob. Spock, you are in command of the Yorktown, Captain Bob. Do you wish a list of the possible commands, sir? Yes. So, there are 19 commands available. Range has Mr. Spock report the distance and bearing to the enemy. Fire forward phasers, forward photon torpedoes, rear photon torpedoes. The bearing to the enemy is important because we have forward and rear weapons. And the closer the enemy is to directly in front or directly behind us, the better our chances of hitting him. Launch antimatter probe. I'm not sure why it's called a probe. Maybe the idea is you're shoving antimatter up his ass. Close on enemy vessel. Move away from enemy vessel. Set optimum shield position. Rotate weapon 60 degrees clockwise. So if the enemy is not directly ahead or behind you, you can turn. Firing probability report. Mr. Spock gives you the odds of hitting the enemy. Damage report. Attempt Corbomite bluffing maneuver. Is that the Corbomite maneuver from the episode The Corbomite Maneuver or from the episode The Deadly Years? You'll have to try it and find out. Activate self-destruction and surrender to enemy. Spock, shall I proceed with information about our weapons capabilities? Yes. Phasers are more deadly than torpedoes, etc., etc. Spock, are you ready to proceed with the mission, sir? No. Spock, impatiently. How about now, sir? Yes. Bob, Captain's Log. We are presently on course for Kappa Sirius 8 with the new Federation ambassador to that planet. Sulu, I'm picking up a vessel on an attack vector with the Yorktown. Spock, ship's computers indicate that it is the Romulan vessel Krulix. So in the Mike Mayfield game, you are one ship fighting like 20 other ships. In this game, you are one ship fighting one ship. In the Mayfield game, it's pretty easy to destroy one of the enemy. Here, it's a lot harder. What are your orders, sir? Let's close on the enemy. Spock, Krulix is at range 574 megameters, bearing 173 degrees. So he's at the perfect range for a torpedo, and he's almost directly behind me. So I'm going to fire TORP, torpedoes, rear. Bob, fire rear photon torpedoes. Chekhov, photon torpedoes firing, sir. Chekhov, direct hits, sir. Spock, the Romulan is firing photon torpedoes at us, sir. Evasive maneuvers were effective, no damage. Let's try the Corbomite maneuver. So, would you like to try playing it yourself? I've created a repository on GitHub with Gary's scans of the original program, my transcription of those scans, and ports to other platforms. You can find it in the link in the YouTube description. Thanks for watching.